Good afternoon, dear students. My name is Желдибаева. I am a lecturer of Educational Program Pedagogy and Psychology. The name of our discipline is Criterion Assessment Technology. And our first lecture is devoted to the necessity of the criteria-based assessment. In this lecture, we are going to ask the questions. What is the assessment? What for is assessment necessary? What is the purpose of assessment? Who are the stakeholders of assessment? What is the types of assessment? What is a criteria-based assessment? What is criteria itself? What is the role of criteria in educational process? And of course, we will speak about the necessity of criteria-based assessment.
So, it is clear that criterion assessment is one of the most significant innovations in modern education. Unlike traditional grading systems, which often rely on subjective judgment on comparison between students, criterion assessment evaluates learning outcomes according to clearly defined standards and measurable indicators. This approach ensures fairness, transparency, and accuracy in determining each learner's progress. The diagram in front of us illustrates the necessity and importance of criterion assessment through four key components: improves objectivity, ensures transparency, provides consistency, and guides learning. Let's start with the first aspect: improves objectivity. One of the main challenges in traditional assessment is the presence of bias and subjectivity. Different teachers might interpret student performance differently, which can lead to unfair evaluations. Criterion assessments eliminates this issue by introducing fixed, measurable criteria that apply equally to all students. For example, instead of saying good or poor performance, the teacher refers to specific descriptors such as uses relevant evidence, applies correct grammar, or demonstrates critical thinking. This way, evaluation is based not on opinion but on evidence of achievement, ensuring equal conditions for every learner. The second aspect ensures transparency. In criterion-based systems, students know exactly what is expected of them before they start a task. Each assignment or exam is accompanied by a rubric that describes performance levels and specific indicators for success. This clarity allows students to understand how their work will be assessed and what they need to do to achieve a higher result. Transparency also fosters trust between teacher and student, reducing anxiety and confusion about grading. When learners can see the link between effort, performance, and outcome, the entire process becomes more meaningful. The next component provides consistency. Criterion assessment promotes consistency across teachers, classes, and even institutions, because all educators follow the same set of standards and descriptors. The grading process becomes unified. This means that a student's performance will be evaluated similarly regardless of who the teacher is. It also supports long-term comparability of results. For example, when tracking students' progress from one academic year to another. Moreover, consistent assessment ensures the reliability of data for educational research, school improvement, and curriculum evaluation. Finally, guides learning is one of the most valuable aspects of criterion assessment. Assessment is not only about measuring results, it's also a powerful tool for guiding and improving the learning process. Criterion assessment provides students with detailed feedback about their strengths and weaknesses. When learners understand which specific criteria they have not yet mastered, they can focus their efforts on those areas. Similarly, teachers can use the assessment result to adjust their instruction, differentiate tasks, and provide targeted support. In this sense, assessment becomes not an end but a means of continuous learning and improvement.
According to Ananyev, lack of assessment is the worst kind of assessment because this impact is not orienting but disorienting, stimulating negatively, affecting depressively to an object, as well as forcing people to develop their own self-esteem, relying on the higher subjective interpretation of hints, semi-understandable situations, behavior of a teacher and learners, instead of relying on an objective assessment in which their actual knowledge is reflected. So let's answer the question, what is assessment? So assessment is the process of gathering or collecting evidence. Then the user defined criteria to judge performance based on the evidence itself, arrive at a conclusion of performance. Let's discuss who is involved in, affected or interested in assessment itself. Who are the stakeholders? Of course, those are learners, students, parents, educational institutions of different levels, education institutions, administrations, employers, governmental decision makers, society as a whole, the public's view of education and learners. If you have any more suggestions, please give me a feedback. Now let's discuss types of assessment. The first one is formative, assessment of learning during teaching and learning. Next one is summative, assessment of learning itself. And the last one is diagnostic. Diagnostic assessment measures skills and knowledge to identify strengths and weaknesses. So, what is assessment necessary? What is a criteria-based assessment? What is the purpose of criteria-based assessment? And what is the types of criteria-based assessment? For these questions, we will try to find an answer during our practical lessons. Thank you very much.